It's always a big day and a big job when Bennett Presto breaks out the mini dozer. And while it's not tons of scrap copper, there is enough to figuratively use the term tons. Time to shred it all up, melt it all down, and find out just how much. No scrap or piece of copper is safe, these bigger pieces being shredded to make them a little bit easier to dump into the crucibles and to be melted down in that forge. And honestly, any excuse to use the shredder. Just look at that disappear, and what comes out looking like copper cornflakes. It'll end up just like this wire in that red hot forge. Watch that stuff melt down and disappear, going from copper to that bright orange and red as it becomes molten. There's plenty to get through. And once the first batch is melted down, some extra large ingots will need to be heated up. It's important to preheat the ingots before pouring in molten metal. Otherwise, the temperature difference between that incredibly hot liquid metal and a cooler ingot can cause some splashback, and that is extremely dangerous. The last thing you want is molten metal flying around. Still, that large crucible has enough space to keep taking more molten metal. The slag now removed, those are the impurities, and you definitely don't want those in an ingot of pure copper. Looks like it's time to pour out the first batch. That is a large ingot casing, and it gets filled right up. Back in it goes, and in the meantime, a bucket prepped with some water, the ingot hosed down to help it cool. Look at those incredibly thick protective gloves, that apron. With experiments like this, safety has to be of the utmost importance. The water boiling on contact with that incredibly large ingot, retaining heat right at the core. Still tossing it around to keep it from getting too hot in his hands. In comes all that shredded scrap. And just look at how hot the crucible is, singeing that scrap immediately. Quickly push down. The thinner wire melts down easily due to the low density. Time for round 2, filling up another ingot. There should be at least 4, maybe 5. Another one full. Another one needing a quick cool down. Look at all that scrap heaped in there, pressed down, and dropped back into the forge. Another round of molten copper. Another extra large ingot. And at last, that bucket of scrap is just about done. That bucket of water, though, still has some work to do, cooling down a few more extra large hunks of copper. Boiling as it takes on the heat and helps to cool that ingot down. More cold water sprayed in to help it cool down, and you can see it still smoking. That's 4 now. And you can see 2 hands needed to pull it out with the tongs before he can get a good grip. That must weigh quite a bit. The last one for now. Finally cooled down enough to touch with his bare hands. Ben is a brave man, now cooling down the casing as well. It's time to enlist some help and carry these ingots off to be weighed and figure out just how much scrap he melted down today. A nice size scale, and the first one coming in at a whopping 13, then 12, now 14, and this last one, almost 15 kilos of pure copper, all to be used on a future project or experiment.